Commence primary ignition.
Welcome back to Podcast 241. I am your co-host, Donavon Thompson, with my other co-host, Daniel Wingfield. So we're back here. Later on in the episode, we have a special guest, Heather Condren. She'll be joining us to talk about The Mandalorian Chapter 5. Woo! Yeah, woo. But until then, we have a few things to talk about. A few things happened over the last week in the pop culture zeitgeist. We have a few trailers drop. We have a CCXP happen over the weekend with some cool Marvel things with WandaVision and the internals. But let's kind of drop in real quick on some of these trailers. One of the big ones that dropped this last week was Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
So real quick, Daniel, let's kind of burn through these. We have a few trailers to talk about. Wonder Woman, how'd you feel about it?
So it's my feelings about it are based on the last Wonder Woman film and all of the DC films. So in my opinion, Wonder Woman was good, but it was good because it felt like a Marvel movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
It was good because it just functioned at the level of a Marvel movie, a B-level Marvel movie, to be fair, but a Marvel movie, and it worked like that. So I'm kind of just assuming the same thing. It'll be a good time. It's not going to blow my socks off. Yeah. It'll be fun. The one thing about the trailer, I love Kristen Wiig as a villain.
Kristen Wiig is cheetah.
I think that's hilarious.
It got some some Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman vibes from Batman Returns. I'm kind of wary, but I'm
into it. I think Kristen Wiig has shown in the past few years that she's a much more dynamic actor than just a comedian.
Yeah.
I did notice that Gal Gadot has no 80s look to her in any of the costumes I saw. It's like everyone is 80s but her.
Maybe Gal Gadot.
Okay, excuse me. Gal Gadot. Wonder Woman.
There you
go. And I'm not talking about her costume, because obviously, but like her
hair.
Her hair and like the dress she wears to that party and stuff. None of that looked like 80s to me. Yeah, maybe I'm not versed enough in it, but like it just looked like current styles on her. Everyone, like Kristen Wiig had like kind of like the frizzed out hair. Pedro Pascal, our good Mandalorian friend, had like the classic like 80s comb over. She just looked like if she had worn that dress to the Oscars, I would have been like, looks like a normal dress.
She did look out of place there. No, it's interesting. Kind of, it's one of my first of all, it's called Wonder Woman 1984. I didn't really say that earlier. I think it's interesting. I think I'm trying to blend the 80s into it.
It feels a little shoehorned from the trailer to me.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know if they were going to go super full 80s where it's like a joke and everybody's wearing everything, or if it's just kind of like we're in the 80s and it feels like the 80s and it's not really like touched on it. But the music, the score kind of had like an 80s techno vibe to it.
I mean, it was copying Stranger Things.
Yeah, and there were a few things that were kind of happening.
I mean, the title sequence, when it put the title on there, it was very 80s.
I mean, overall, I'm really curious what Pedro Pascal does. He's playing Maxwell Lord, which is a big DC villain.
Is he like a traditional Wonder Woman villain?
Yeah, he's probably like one of Wonder Woman's biggest villains.
Is he like a Lex Luthor type, or does he got powers?
He's definitely a Lex Luthor type.
So he's just a normal guy that's very rich and does bad things.
Don't quote me. I could be getting things confused right here. When I say Maxwell Lord, I keep thinking Blue Beetle, and I can't. I don't know. My brain's going on that one.
What's Blue Beetle? I don't even know what that is.
Blue Beetle is a superhero who gets like a relic on him and ends up giving him like a Blue Beetle costume. I may be thinking of someone else, but we'll have to check that out. A little fuzzy today, but overall, I liked it.
I didn't. I mean, I thought her. I hate when trailers do this. They like show her costume change.
Yeah,
that she gets. Apparently, I don't think the costume looks that great. To be honest, it looks like something that would be out of like the old Hercules movie live action. Like it looked a little corny to me.
Yeah,
in terms of just design. The CGI is great and all that, but just the design of it, I didn't vibe with me very well. And I wish that they would just save that, I mean, if she's going to get a new costume and that's kind of like what seems to will be a huge turning point. I'm guessing my assumption is everything goes wrong. She's beat and then something happens. She has some kind of internal change that allows her to defeat the bad guy. And then she gets this new costume because of it. That would be my assumption. Basically like Thor, when he finally gets the hammer in Thor 1 and then he gets his full costume with the hammer, right? Like that's kind of that moment. I just wish they had saved it. I mean, what it does is it makes me feel like they're not that confident when they're giving away. And this is always, if a trailer gives away too much, what that tells me is you don't believe in the product enough. You feel like you have to get people in the seats because it's not going to be enough. Your movie's not good enough to get people in the seats consistently. That's what that kind of says to me.
Honestly, I don't think that. I mean, I think it's just a small little tease there for the costume to kind of be like, ooh, what's that? I mean, we already had the costume front and center in the first poster they released. That's like one of the first things they released.
Oh, is it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, was the poster was her in.
And that's like an iconic costume for her character in the comics, right?
Honestly, I don't think so.
I thought I read that.
But I will say this: two things. A, Maxwell Lord. This is kind of spoilery territory for the comics, but so if you don't want to kind of tune out for like 10, 15 seconds. But a big thing in the comics is that
called Eagle Armor.
Eagle Armor.
It is from the comics. And apparently a lot of people had eagle armor.
There you go.
Because there's a lot of eagle-looking people on this thing.
Well, one of the big things about Maxwell Lord is in the comics is that Wonder Woman actually snaps his neck and she kills him. So it's very much like Man of Steel and Superman does in the first Man of Steel movie.
Is the best part.
So we'll see if that happens in this movie. Another thing, the big villain, I think the actual villain of this episode will be Kristen Wiig's Cheetah.
Yes. Now, is Cheetah basically Catwoman but Cheetah?
She's actually an Amazonian that was cursed, and she ended up, I think it's kind of like, not Icarus, but a narcissist kind of thing, where she wanted to be beautiful, blah, 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 and she ended up being turned into a cheetah. There's been other incarnations in the comics. I think there's even been like a hint of a relationship between Wonder Woman and Cheetah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that recent?
I think it's recent. I think it's happened.
I would
It's
assume.
been alluded to in the past, I believe. But so we'll see where that goes. It's very interesting. Of course, Steve Trevor's back, which we'll see how that's happened. And
Yeah, that was.
he looks a smidge older, but it's like
because his actor is getting older.
Well, I mean, like he's 40 years later, so I think some time travel involved or something happening.
there has to be
something.
I mean, they
weird's
reference
happening.
in the trailer that he's dead, according to her. To her knowledge, he is dead at the beginning.
Something's definitely happened. So anyway, I'm in for it.
I hope they do that well because
It's hard.
I hope it's not shoehorned just to bring her love interest back and have Chris Pine on the screen because he's kind of an A-list name.
And it was a nice send off for him in the first one. Like as much as I didn't like it because I wanted him to continue.
Maybe
on.
he's not real. Maybe he's like a fake Chris Pine.
It's very possible
That he's like being created by someone.
He's like a clone.
It's like the whole plot from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon where we think Mary Jane's dead, but then she comes back. But the whole time she was a creation of Aqua. What was his name? Hydro Man.
Yeah, that's like the closer to the very end.
That
of
was
the series.
such a heartbreaking. Like when you learned that, it was just like because she had been back like a whole season.
It was so dumb.
It was heartbreaking. I remember being like gutted as an 8-year-old.
They kind of fixed it in the last episode, but it was really heartbreaking. So
we'll see. If it's another Wonder Woman movie, and it's at least as good as the last one, it'll be enjoyable.
Yeah. Other things at CCXP for Warner Brothers this weekend. Suicide Squad was not Suicide Squad. Sorry. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of Warren Harley Quinn. That happened. Of course, there's really nothing new there. We didn't already know beforehand. And of course, Matt Reeves kind of had like a small conference call saying, "Hey, sorry, the Batman. We're just getting started, but we will have the full cast there next year for CCXP in Brazil."
What did you think? What are your feelings on Birds of Prey? Are you? I mean, I know you're DC. Are you DC more than Marvel?
I am
traditionally. Like historically,
comic wise, everything but movies, I'm DC.
Okay,
but movies, I'm Marvel, and
because they're better.
And that's not because, it is. It's not because if DC was on the level that Marvel was cinematically, then DC.
You have a more connection to the DC characters.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, other than Spider-Man's my boy, but other than Spider-Man, there's like I have like 5-6 characters on DC. So I'm like, man, I love these characters.
Right.
If they could just do them right, then I think they could have smoked Marvel. They just missed a big opportunity.
I don't know. I think there's some innately more interesting things about Marvel characters than some of the DC.
That's the thing though. You can if you do anything correctly, it's good.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just think that DC is more iconic. They have Superman and Batman. But
so give me. Are you excited about Birds of Prey?
Yeah, I mean, of course, again, I'm there day one. I'm more excited to see Ian McGregor as Black Mask. He's traditionally a Batman villain, and he's the bad guy in this one. Ian McGregor, he's playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's playing
Black Mask. Yeah, I know Black Mask from the Arkham games.
Yeah. So it's him. But they haven't showed him in the mask yet. But they apparently did at CCXP this weekend. It's exclusive footage just for the audience.
So I'm sure there's a cell phone photo somewhere.
Somewhere, maybe. I haven't seen that. I didn't even think to go look for it. But I'm curious if it feels more like a Harley Quinn movie than a Birds of Prey movie. But that makes sense on a marketing standpoint. It's definitely. I think it's gonna be her story, and they're gonna be
because I couldn't even name. I mean, is Poison Ivy in it?
Not Poison Ivy. She's more of a Gotham City siren. That was actually a movie in development. And they still maybe.
Yeah, I heard about that as a title.
Yeah, but they have a Huntress. They have Black Canary.
The Huntress is that? Huntress. Is that related to the Hunter from Spider-Man?
No. This is DC.
Oh yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay.
I feel really dumb
It's
right
okay.
now.
It happens. But yeah, that's kind of the Warner Brothers side this weekend. Let's talk about real quick since we're on CCXP before we get into these other trailer breakdown. Let's talk about, you had some thoughts on, they showed WandaVision, right?
Yeah, we got a photo, which was really interesting, right? It was a black and white 1950s-esque photo with Wanda, Scarlet Witch, with Vision sitting on and Wanda's got the classic 1950s haircut. Vision's in a coat and tie. They're smiling. It's like they're posing for a photo for an ad. Yeah, and so I'm coming from someone that has no idea about the comic, kind of references for these things.
Right.
But immediately, and I already kind of had this thought. I kind of from that photo had an idea for what the plot is, and I want to throw this. This is going to be timestamped on this podcast. So if I nail this, Marvel, you have to give me a job. That's kind of I'm saying that's the rule. If I get this plot right from one photo, I deserve a job, Marvel. So from just showing that photo, my assumption is everything that's going to happen in WandaVision is happening inside of Scarlet Witch's head, or in a reality that she has created that's based on what she wants.
That's possible.
I think that Vision is dead the whole time. I don't think he's ever alive again. I think Wanda is trying to deal with her grief because, too, you have to think about it. Wanda, she was snapped and immediately came back and started beating up Thanos. That she didn't have those 5 years. She was one of the snapped, right? So she was her reality is Vision dies, everyone snaps, all of a sudden she's back.
Right.
There's no time in between.
She had no time to process.
So she is hot off the heels of losing the love of her life, losing everything that mattered to her. The person that killed him is dead now too, so there's not like she can do anything with that. So now all she can do is process. And my assumption is she is going to have basically a mental fucking breakdown. And this will be her processing the death of Vision in her own head, manifested by her powers. What I think will happen is, I think at some point, the Vision character will find will go rogue in some way a la Ultron, where he will at some point gain either it will be a manifestation of her consciousness that's like suicidal or something, or it will be just her powers being so powerful they can create like a creature. It's still not Vision, but he has the ability to harm her.
Right.
And I think she will have to kill him in the end to deal with it. And I think that'll be the finale of the show. Wow. That's my assumption. The only thing that gives me pause is that we know this is connected to the multiverse of madness, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I don't think they will go multiverse in this. I think they will save multiversey things, like hardcore multiversey things, for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But I think they'll introduce some ideas of it, just so that we're kind of, slowly getting used to this idea, because it's kind of complicated and it's nerdy as shit. You know what I mean? In terms of like multiverse and time travel, that's deep nerd, lore. But yeah, that's my assumption. Yeah, it's all in her head. Vision's not really there. She ends up having to kill the manifestation that she's created in the end to both save herself, but also to get past the grief, to put the death of Vision to bed.
No, I mean, I think all that makes sense. I think there's a few things to take note here. First of all, I think you're right. I think it's definitely probably a coping mechanism for her. There was a Vision comic that came out a few years ago that it's basically a Vision creating a nuclear family, right? And he's wearing the suits. He's got a wife. He's got a kid, or he's got kids. And it's basically him trying to process like what is life and what does it mean to have a life and family and that kind of thing. And so he ends up making his family, right? So they're taking inspiration from that for sure, to kind of have like the nuclear family kind of aspect for Wanda, right? I think, and here's another thing to take note. In the comics of Scarlet Witch is much different than the Marvel Studios Scarlet Witch we have. Mm-hmm. And in the comics, she's actually an X-Men character, right? She's the daughter of Magneto. And what her power is in the comics is basically she has this ability to wish, like kind of can make a wish or like change a very important aspect of reality. Example, in the House of M storyline, she ends up basically killing half of all mutants. And it's like a big thing in the comics, right? So I wonder, and one thing, I don't know if they'll do this, but they may expand upon her powers a little bit, or kind of give her this power through now that we're through this different timelines and multiverse stuff, they may give her like an aspect of that power. And also, I think this too. They own Fox now, so they can even do some more of those kind of powers. They kind of start blending those a little bit together.
What if? Ooh, man, I would fall out of my chair if they started introducing X-Men things.
I mean, honestly, though, having a multiverse and like normally, if you break something, you have to. Normally, how a movie works in structure, right, is you break something and it comes back to an equilibrium, but something is different now.
Oh, I do think that the multiverse angle, in my opinion, my assumption is that the multiverse is the next overarching plot of the next phase.
We're not only saving Earth Prime, we're saving Earth.
Well, just in the same way that Phase 1, 2, and 3 were all the Infinity Saga.
Yeah,
I think the next saga could be multiverse related.
Makes sense.
And because for one, I think it gives them the opportunity to bring in all of these missing characters we've had, X-Men, Fantastic Four, all that kind of stuff, and bring them in without retconning.
I definitely think the Fantastic Four could be multiverse jumping characters.
See, I think X-Men is, because X-Men is the whole mutant thing, and like the whole difference. I'm still not quite clear on the difference between a mutant and a superhero, because some superheroes were born with their powers.
It's very complicated
right?
in the comics.
Exactly, and this is a way to uncomplicate it.
Yeah, I think here's the best theory.
There's an alternate version where superheroes didn't have accidents; they just were born.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I think they're going to, I don't know. It's interesting to see how they navigate that. I think a good theory for how they explain mutants is, the gamma radiation from using the snap and the Infinity Stones, the gamma radiation. So they have so many close around the globe. That radiation is basically creating mutants down the line in some form.
Or what if everyone that was snapped and came back has become a mutant and they didn't know it, and it's like slow developing?
It's possible. I mean, there's got to be something. It's very interesting because superheroes are kind of accepted in the MCU.
They are, but they're also kind of feared. I mean, the whole Civil War arc with the government never got resolved.
Yeah,
like the government.
Honestly, it's really not an issue. Here's the issue: is that you're going to have. It's kind of the same thing that's happening in the actual X-Men movies, right? Is you're going to have the camp of people that grow up as mutants and they're accepted as the X-Men, and then you have the camp that grow up and they're not happy about being, I'm going to say, in a society where they're equal when they're actually superior physically. And that's going to be the
Magneto people.
That's going to be the Brotherhood. So that can make sense. I think the hard part is figuring out how you also depress or oppose the X-Men.
And here's the other thing. A big part of the X-Men is the whole, Rogue not wanting to be a mutant anymore. And that whole arc is essential to the X-Men mythos.
It is, but I think Marvel may go a different route and just say
and maybe they need to.
And just say, hey, they've done the whole, we've been mutants and we've been sidelined and we're oppressed people for a long, long time.
Right.
So they may just keep that. Who knows? That's something we'll have to wait and find out.
Either way, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what they do next. Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. So real quick, we talked about Batman. We talked about Wonder Woman. We talked about Birds of Prey, WandaVision. There's a little bit about the Eternals. I think just showing some concept art and some really cool costumes. It wasn't really a whole lot to really digest there.
And that's another thing. I'm a little confused about what the Eternals are compared to mutants, compared to superheroes.
Here's one thing is to note. They did kind of announce, if you want to get into that the movie itself, the Eternals, will take place over 7,000. The one movie will take place over a time period of 7,000.
Which aren't the Eternals like literally eternal, like they don't die?
Yeah, but I think of course there's gonna be a birth. I think this family of Eternals. Is
now in the comics, aren't they like half Kree? Is that what it is?
Honestly, we're starting to get into like the deep cut Marvel stuff.
Well, here's the thing too, because it tied into if you watched Agents of Shield.
I've seen every episode, but the last two.
Well, they did a lot of like finding Kree relics
I know
under the ocean or whatever, and that's how Coulson came back and whatever.
Yeah, that's all first.
So I wonder if they'll continue it. I mean, they introduced the Eternals in that show. There were Eternals, like they called themselves Eternals.
I don't remember that.
That was like the whole cult the cult thing that the main character joined for a little while. Huh? Do you remember that?
No. You're talking about Inhumans.
Yes, I am. They call themselves Inhumans.
That's okay.
God damn it.
You're talking about Inhumans. That's okay.
Another blunder.
It's okay.
That's what, 3 for me today?
That's
Great.
Okay. It's not a big deal. Real quick, last big thing we can talk about trailer-wise. We'll talk real quick. Let's just talk about Free Guy Mulan within like 30 seconds. Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds, looks like a fun blockbuster. That's kind of...
it looks like, here's what it is. It's a run-of-the-mill blockbuster that I'm into because it's kind of video game centric.
Exactly.
And honestly, if it wasn't video game centric, I probably wouldn't have an interest in. I mean, I love Ryan Reynolds.
It feels like PG-13 / adult Ready Player One with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but hopefully better than Ready Player One.
I liked Ready Player One.
I liked it, but it wasn't great. It was. I mean, if you stack it up against anything else Spielberg, and it looks like child's play.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Yes. It is true.
I don't know,
you're right. It's great. It's not great for a Spielberg film.
That Gundam scene though was incredible,
but it's not worth everything else.
That is false. Anyway, so we also have Mulan, also Disney property.
Yeah.
Real quick, 30 seconds. What do you think about that trailer?
It looks fine. I have an issue with this.
Yeah, give me your gripe.
The actress that plays Mulan has been very outspoken in support of the China's control of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
In fact, I think she's been very outspoken, saying the protesters are bad people and all this kind of stuff. And that to me is really problematic. I have friends that live in China, and I've kind of heard, even not in Hong Kong, in upper China, proper China, right? I've heard the story. China's fucking brutal. Harvesting organs of people they don't like for money.
Okay.
Whole subgroups of people.
This podcast took a dark turn.
Well, it is the world we live in, and the world sucks sometimes. Right. And so I just have a lot of problems with anyone that's speaking up to defend atrocities like that.
Right.
And it's just because then what it makes me feel like the whole film is propaganda, because it's all pro-China.
But it's also
a pro-China film.
But it's also made by Disney.
So
by American people.
So Disney only cares about money. Disney is going to make it as palatable to China as possible. You know why? Because that movie's going to sell fucking gangbusters in China. And China is a ginormous market in every entertainment sector.
Yeah.
Every single one. Gaming, movies. In fact, there's some movies, was it Pacific Rim? I think sold way more in China than it ever did here, because it's just more catered. It's kaiju-y and more catered to that audience. There is a huge market for American films in China.
Yeah.
In fact, I know there's several examples of them shooting different alternate versions of scenes. Just for Chinese audiences.
Yeah, I understand that.
And so yes, they are going. I mean, yes, it is. To me, it's hard to not look at the film like Chinese propaganda at this point, because of what the actress has done. Because in general, I mean, it's a pro-China. It's a pro-dynasty movie. That movie is all about saving the Chinese dynasty. It's all about it's a communist movie if you think about it. It's all about everyone has to work towards the common good of the empire because that's your duty, because that's what you have to do. It's all about the good of the empire. And to me, that's that's kind of what China wants everyone to think now anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, that's interesting.
As a movie, it looks fine.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Sorry.
That's fine. You can do that. That's fine. I mean, I honestly didn't read that much into it. I also honestly, if I'm being honest, don't remember the plot of Mulan. If I mean the original, the only thing,
it's great. I mean, you don't remember it? It's awesome.
I mean, I remember a little bit. I know that she's a female and she's disguised herself as a male.
Also, I feel like they're missing the best part of what that movie was, which is all the music. And I understand what they say they're doing. They're trying to make it more honoring of traditional actual Chinese culture.
Well, the biggest thing they're missing to me is Mushu.
Oh yes,
but
yes.
That's my big. But I understand that. I think that from what I've read or understood is that Mushu is not really actual representative.
I think it was a little culturally insensitive.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's something along those
lines.
Like him. But yeah, I mean it's Eddie Murphy.
I mean, and he's hilarious, and yeah, exactly.
But I can see that. But yeah, no, the movie. I'm just not. I mean, you have the. I understand not copying Lion King, Aladdin, and everything else, and something
because
different.
That hasn't been working.
I mean, it's been working.
Well,
not on a critic level.
Okay,
financially,
exactly. It's been working, but to me, I don't care about that personally. I don't care. I mean, how much money a movie makes has no impact on how I feel about it.
I know, but at the same time, I think
so. It's the whole part of the Hollywood thing, right? Hollywood is equally art and business. Some movies are more art than business. Some movies are more business than art. To me, those are just business movies. They're not artistic. They are frame for frame copying someone else's art.
Here's my question.
And that's not artistic.
You ready for this one?
Sure.
Have you seen Aladdin or The Lion King?
No, but I don't want to. Why would I watch something I don't want to watch?
That's true. I just
But
think,
I mean, I've read enough. I mean, literally, I mean, like Lion King, there's so much of it that is like frame for frame. And I read a bunch of interviews with the original animators of it, and they were like, this sucks. This makes us feel like our work wasn't good. I mean, like what you just copied they didn't even, the original animators didn't get a dime out of that. Even though
I can see those complaints.
You could argue that those original animators made the storyboard for the remake. That it was their movie was the storyboard. And they did all that work. They came up with those shots, those compositions, those looks, and then Disney copied it and didn't really do anything kick them a buck or anything.
That's also the nature of whenever you create something for a company, you don't own that thing anymore.
Well, sure, but it just reinforces that, like, yeah, Disney's not really about art; they're about money, and we've known that. It's just sometimes not fun to be slapped in the face with that knowledge again.
I mean, it's at the end of the day. I don't know. I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying that there aren't artists working for Disney and doing good art. I'm saying that as a company, I don't see Disney as an artistic company. I see them as a money company.
That's every company.
No, A24 is not that way. A24 makes artistic as fuck movies.
No. Well, they might do that, but at the end of the day...
they make ones that sell because they have to make money, but they're more concerned about quality than quantity. Disney is much more interested with quantity than quality, in my opinion.
I don't know if that's true at all. I think The Lion King is one of the most visually, one of the best visual movies I've ever seen in my life. And
but if that's all you get, why not watch a nature documentary?
You're talking about quality; it's different. You're saying A24 is not concerned about money, or that their main focus is not
concerned.
That's perception, and that's one reason.
I mean, yeah, the perception is they make better movies, so they care more about them.
Well, better is also perspective. Like, it's not your version of better, my version of better are different. Like I would,
mine's right, yours wrong.
I would pick The Lion King probably almost universally. Not universally. I would rather watch The Lion King more times than I would watch an A24 movie, just because it's more digestible. And I mean, it's just, that's my opinion. That's what I'm saying. Where it's catering to a certain audience. It's hard for me to watch The Good Times 7 times in a row, but I could probably have The Lion King playing in the background 7 times.
I don't think that's a positive in my opinion. Rewatchability isn't a factor into how much I like a movie.
Rewatchability is not a factor into how much you like a movie?
No.
So you're
telling me. One of my favorite movies of the last few years, Spotlight. You see it?
I've seen it, yeah.
It's brutal. It is hard to watch. I have a kid. That movie is all about kids being raped.
Right.
I love that movie. I don't want to rewatch it. I don't want to rewatch it over and over again. It's at times like scary and traumatizing and like heavy as shit, but it's still an amazing movie, and it's better than The Lion King, the new one.
Right. I guess we can keep diving down that rabbit hole all day long. I guess
I'll get there first.
My ultimate thing is, you'll beat it to the ground, but my ultimate thing is, I wish Mushu was in Mulan.
Yeah, exactly. The point is, yes.
Yeah. Last thing to talk about before we hop over with Heather. And really the most exciting trailer for me, or this exciting thing we got to see this last week, was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes. Wow, they're doing it right. That was my impression. I was like, yes, this is how you redo a franchise. This is how you bring a franchise back, honoring the past and doing things different. Disney, this is what you should, like. I obviously don't make a Ghostbusters film, but this is how you should have done Star Wars in a more nuanced way.
Honestly, though, this feels like the Force Awakens of Ghostbusters. You have a new cast, and they're doing things that are,
in a way,
it's a plot that
it looks better as far as just kind of homaging to the Ghostbusters. I mean, we don't know, it's a trailer.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm all in. I mean, and I'm not a Ghostbusters like super fan or anything. I enjoyed the movies. If you rewatch them now, they're incredibly like awkward, and like for their time, you're like, oh my god, this would not be in these, like ghosts giving that one guy a blowjob. Like they're all kind of skeezy, like they're really womanizing.
They're incredible,
but they're like, oh my god, this would not work today.
Probably not.
They would not be seen as likable people.
There's always a part of me. I'm never a big fan of passing the torch. It can be done in ways that are beautiful and earned, but most of the time it's just not earned. That's why I'm always scared of it. And there's always part of me, it's like, man, I just kind of like to see a Ghostbusters 3 with the original cast. What's cool is we have Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman. He is the one that's writing and directing this. And of course, if you don't know Ivan Reitman, he was the writer and director of the first Ghostbusters, and he also played Egon.
Yeah.
And he passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. And now his son has come in to take over the reins after the debacle that was Sony's last Ghostbusters movie.
Oof. I didn't even see it, but I could see from the trailer it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. Just sidebar on there real quick. Just the movie itself, nothing to do with the damn female crap. That was fine. That's no problem.
Yeah, who cares?
Just the movie itself was just not a good movie.
Yeah.
That's what the problem was. But so Ghostbusters Afterlife, of course, there's like some Stranger Things in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Feels like Stranger Things.
I mean, they're appealing. They're hitting all my buttons. I mean, Paul Rudd.
We got Paul
Rudd
Rudd
is one of my favorite actors right now. He's just hilarious and good and everything.
And they're hitting the nostalgia just right, where they're kind of like, remember that time when something like this happened.
And it looks good. Like the shots look.
It looks
like
cinematic
that with the Ecto-1 tearing across that like cornfield. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks so
It's so
good.
interesting because we're taking like what Ghostbusters, which were very centered in New York, and we're placing them in this rural town.
I like that though.
So
I think it's a new take that it needs that. You need to do something that different to feel like you're not just rehashing the original. Well, because that's the difference between this and Force Awakens. You're right. Rey's not on Tatooine, but she's on a planet that could have been Tatooine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I can see that.
It's like they're still innovating and paying homage. And I see a lot more innovation in this trailer than other things when they redo things.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense to me. I'm excited.
Last thing, I know we're all about this trailer, but I do want to bring up, we Witcher The Witcher moment.
Yeah, Witcher.
So The Witcher released a new it's kind of like a half interview with Henry Cavill, half new footage, some old
behind
footage,
the scenes.
some behind the scenes footage from The Witcher, which comes out on the 20th. Man, I can't wait. It looks fantastic.
It looks good. I'm from my perspective of a person who hasn't read any of the books, who hasn't played any of the games. I've heard a lot of praise from a lot of friends. Just as a viewer of Netflix, whatever, I'm like, I love Henry Cavill, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there and watch it. And I think one thing we can tell our viewers now is like, hey, we will be reviewing The Witcher.
Yeah. We will definitely give our thoughts on it because, I mean, it looks great. I will say, I played a lot of The Witcher 3. I dabbled in The Witcher 2, but I played The Witcher 3 first because it's hard to go back sometimes to like clunkier older games. I will say The Witcher is like Game of Thrones, but way darker. Like way darker.
It's
like
darker than Game of Thrones.
Like whole townships sacrificing their children to monsters in the forest.
Damn.
Like that kind of shit.
I love that monster we saw.
And like even if you play The Witcher, what's the thing people praise most about it is like every side quest, nothing feels like filler. Yeah. You do a side quest and you're like, oh, this is simple. And by the end of it, you figure out, oh no, this is a convoluted mess where one person's like the situation where it's like, you're trying to figure out what happened to this guy's husband, this lady's husband. It turns out he's a werewolf and he left her to try to not hurt people. But then it's just all this kind of cool stuff. It's very like, like dark gothic horror. And then there's werewolves, there's, lichens, there's these crazy, really freaky looking like tree monsters that are just creepy as fuck, but awesome. Like there's things that stalk people.
It's kind of like Lord of the Rings meets Game of Thrones, kind of like,
but way darker, just way darker.
Okay.
Way darker.
Okay.
Like just think like there's just we got a little glimpse of like this spider monster with a head on it. I don't remember that monster from the game necessarily, but man, yeah, it's just so dark and just kind of like creepy. Huh. It's way creepier. The world of The Witcher. And that's kind of the appeal, is that he's the character that hunts these creepy ass creatures. That's his job. It'll feel like a horror movie at times because he's investigating hauntings. Like people in the game, you're like, hey, my house is haunted. And you have to go figure out what's actually going on. And sometimes it's actually a ghost haunting someone. Sometimes it's some weird gnome-like creature running around in the attic.
One thing I've noticed, and then we can hop over to Heather real quick.
Sure thing.
They're not really been showing Henry Cavill talking a whole lot.
Well, here's the thing. Geralt of Rivia is not a talky character. Okay. He is very silent.
I'm just wondering.
He is just kind of a
confidence in his acting.
It's true to the character.
Okay.
It's completely true to the character, which is the only part that I'm nervous about, because that works as a video game character because you want to kind of insert yourself into it. You know what I mean?
And now we're here for the reason why you're probably here. The Mandalorian Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. And we are joined today by our great co-host.
Coco HR director.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely give us a line. Heather Condren.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's a live studio audience.
That was
Man,
yes,
I feel loved.
Yes, the live studio
Yeah,
audience.
no one else has gotten a live studio audience. So
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm special,
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
So Heather, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I come from the great suburban city of Maumelle, Arkansas. Yeah, I grew up around here, went to UCA, just like you guys.
We went
Go
to
Bears.
UCA as well. Go Bears.
Yeah, worked here at an ad agency for a little while. I worked in Seattle at a digital marketing company for a little while, and I'm back temporarily.
Awesome.
And that's how I met you guys. And yeah.
And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here talking about the Mandalorian. So it'd be safe to assume that you like Star Wars.
Yeah, what's your Star Wars history?
What's your Star Wars story?
My story into Star Wars.
Yeah, or do you like Star Wars? Or you just
Did you grow up watching
Are you
it?
on the
Yeah.
hype train because of Baby Yoda?
Or
What's
were you
going
abused
on?
as a child?
I would say I'm probably somewhere in the middle. You guys obviously know more about Star Wars than me, but
I mean, obviously.
but I definitely was a fan of the movies, and I saw them
Right.
growing up, and I'm definitely into the Mandalorian.
Important question. Did you watch the prequels, and do you have an opinion on the prequels?
Like, yeah, I was gonna say, well, in the piggyback, do you have a favorite Star Wars movie, or do you just all kind of blur together for you?
Okay, let me think about that for a second.
Yeah.
I would probably say Empire Strikes Back.
That's a really good
Ooh,
answer. I mean,
that's kind of, you can't really go wrong with that answer.
Yeah.
Have you?
I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if you're just saying that because you hear people. I'm kidding. I'm playing with you.
I have one person on my side now with Andrew Sweatman
Mm-hmm.
who likes The Last Jedi. Have you seen the new Star Wars movies that's been coming out lately?
Yeah.
Did you like The Last Jedi?
I liked what was the first one?
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. I liked more because it was more
'Cause it was
nostalgic.
better. It was just better.
safe.
Just a better movie.
It was better.
Yeah.
You don't have to say that because he's saying that, Heather.
No, but I actually did. Like,
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
The Last Jedi. It was just a little weird.
So you're a woman of culture as well.
Kylo Ren just went rogue, but I didn't love it.
All right.
I don't know about him.
All right, well, it's 1-1 so
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
To
be fair,
I'm part of the loyal opposition. Like I get it. So.
yeah.
Oh,
well,
you like
and
The Last Jedi?
Ooh,
he
yeah.
loved it in
Okay.
a disturbing way. And to be fair, I do want to make the distinction: the people that do not like The Last Jedi are objectively more attractive. So I'm not saying there's a correlation does not equal causation, but
I will say I did like the red theme, like the cinematography. They added
Right.
a lot of red in all the scenes. I thought that was very interesting.
it was a pretty
Yeah.
shot film.
Yeah.
Just what they shot was kind of dumb. It looked good, but it was dumb.
We are going to have a podcast.
Yeah, we'll get to this
for
later.
this. But it's amazing. And we're on chapter 5, The Gunslinger of Mandalorian. Initial reactions before we kind of get to the nitty gritty of it all. What did you guys think?
Heather,
You go first.
Heather, give it to
Oh
us.
gosh. Okay. Well, I love that they were on Tatooine.
Okay.
It definitely felt kind of nostalgic. I liked the Tusken Raiders scene. I liked the speed bikes. I wish there was a little bit more Baby Yoda. I feel like Baby Yoda just took a nap.
Little sideline.
Yeah,
Baby Yoda a
he
little
didn't
bit.
do
Yeah.
anything. So that was sad. Like, I always like Mando and the Baby Yoda scenes where they're building a relationship.
Yeah, no, of
and you didn't really
course.
see that in this one, so that was sad. What's the technician's name? Pelly or?
Did we get a name?
I
mean, let's see. I'm gonna look at
I'm
on
pretty
the.
sure it's Pelly. Yeah.
Look at this. It is Pelly.
Yeah.
It's Pelly Moto.
But-
Well, did they
I
tell
really
us
loved
that
her.
though? Or
It's
did,
Pelly Moto.
do you have to? Because there's been several things that they never say in the show, but they have on like the Wikipedia.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think they did drop Tatooine on this. I mean, I know.
Well,
I,
no,
I-
Tatooine, yes.
I know
but
it's
her
Tatooine,
name.
but I guess I'm just saying, just to kind of sidebar for a
Mhm.
second. This is the first time they've actually told us we're on Tatooine, right? Or are we just assuming?
Yeah, because they went back.
I mean, I know we are, but I'm just
Mhm.
assuming.
Yes, they
Yes, yeah.
were. They said.
Oh yeah.
it.
I mean,
Well,
it's Mos Eisley
well,
space.
no. I know it's Tatooine. What I'm trying to say is, on the other planets, we were just on a planet, and we've known the name of the planet maybe through Wikipedia, but we never said the name. But did they say the word Tatooine? I know we're
No,
on Tatooine,
But they
did say
did
it.
reference the past planet. That they named the first planet we were on from what I know the first time. Like the lady at the end, she's
Okay.
like, oh, I heard about that trouble on fill in the blank planet.
Gotcha.
And then now we're like, oh, it has a name.
No, I understand that. What I'm trying to say is like on the previous planets that they weren't named, right? But on this one, we know it's Tatooine, but someone actually said the word Tatooine.
No, I think they say Mos Eisley, but everyone knows.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious, but just back to you, Heather.
So you enjoyed it. You liked the nostalgia.
You liked the episode.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, I would give it a, I don't know,
would you say
minus?
Yeah, I mean, would you say? Let's rank a little bit. Would you say it's the stronger or one of the weaker episodes so far this season?
Yeah, I would say it was more of a weaker episode. I didn't really understand, like, they built up this assassin, Fennec, and then she just died very easily.
Right.
And so,
to be fair, she was handcuffed. Most people die easily when they're handcuffed.
But like even them capturing her was like simple. She literally had the high ground. But
I love that.
I
love that reference. I
Dropping
love
in.
it.
I'm just
Dropping
saying.
in
Man, that just made me smile.
I love it. No,
when
it's
he
good
said
stuff.
that, I was just like, oh yeah, give it to me.
Oh.
Give me the high ground.
But yeah, so that was a little like anticlimactic, but that's just me. So I didn't love that part.
Gotcha. So Daniel, what do you think?
I still enjoyed it. See, here's the thing. My expectations, I feel like, are now really consistent as far as what I'm expecting from this show, which is the misadventures of Baby Yoda and Mando, right? Like that's what it's a Western in like the classical sense of they're just kind of doing their thing, trotting across the galaxy, getting into bar fights and trouble, helping out people when they need it, running into interesting, weird characters. And I love it. I love the format. And so, you know, some people may call this, and I've seen discussion around, oh, it's a filler episode, or it's just everything about it was just nostalgia based. And there were some things that I was like, we didn't need that much time. Like, we didn't need that much speeder biking through the desert. We could have done with a few less shots because, I mean, we get it. They're on the same motorbikes from Endor. Cool. And then the whole Tusken Raider thing where they literally like copied the sequence from A New Hope where he's like, oh, I see him through the binoculars, and then they're right next to him. I mean, it's the exact same thing that happens with Luke in A New Hope. But I still enjoyed it. I mean, it's just, I think I'm just enjoying the format. I love the format, and it's so different than anything else live action. And that to me is engaging me.
Well, it's different live action because it's like a cartoon in live action. That's why it's so different.
But done well because they've tried this before.
Yeah, that's not a complaint. That's not a complaint.
Well, and again, think of all the like anime comics. Sorry, I know that's not the right word. Anime books, graphic novels.
You mean manga books?
Manga.
Yes, sorry. I'm sorry for everyone that I offended.
You offended everyone.
Definitely me. I do like manga.
Listen, I love anime. I haven't read manga, but I would be into it.
Right.
Every time they've tried to take one of those and make a movie out of it, it's not well. You know, Ghost in the Shell, all those other ones that are just like, okay, this sucks, right? And so I feel like this is the first time I can recall something that's typically an animated format, an animated style being translated to live action and done as well as it could have been done animated,
right?
In my opinion. And so from that standpoint, I'm still in. I'm kind of like you with with superhero movies. Even if it's not a great movie, you're still gonna enjoy the hell out of it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. No, I understand that. And you can already tell probably by my voice where this is going. I
sense a disturbance.
There is a disturbance in the force here. You know, it's like last week. I feel like even more so than last week, this is a filler episode. And there are a few things or lessons that were learned, but ultimately, it's more of a complaint that I'm selfish and I want more and more and more. And I know we have a limited run with this first season, and we have to wait a very long time until season 2, which again is the selfish thing. But I want something that is constantly pushing the plot forward. And I felt like this episode, even more so than last episode, I think that the gap between episode 3 to 2, 4 to 3 in terms of filler was big, but I think between 4 to 5, it being a filler is way bigger than even 4 was. I love the references. I love being on Tatooine. I love that a droid is the bartender because droids weren't allowed in the cantina, and no droids allowed. Right?
And did you recognize the droid? He's
seen him
not. He is a
before.
I read
recurring
about
droid.
this.
I've seen him before.
He is in. If you'll remember from Return of the Jedi, when R2 and
Yes.
C3PO are captured by
the-
Jabba,
yeah,
he's
exactly.
like the droid slave driver. He's
Yeah.
like the head droid master. You know what I mean? Like he's the whatever. Yeah.
No, and that's all great. I love that kind of stuff. I just think that whenever the credits hit, I went, damn. I was like, man, I just wanted more. Like,
Really? Because
where are we going? Like, what's the point of the show? I understand that. And here's why. It's because they set my expectation in the first 3 episodes that this is going to be a continuing narrative of like what he's going to do with Baby Yoda. And I get it. Things are happening, conflicts happening, but we're getting but then episode 4, some a little bit, and then 5 really hit. This is like a episode of the week now. Now we're on this planet. Now we're on this bounty mission. And I get that. But I think it's just the expectation that 1, 2, and 3 really hit with this through line of like we're constantly learning a lot of information. We're building up to something really big, and then we just kind of stalled. You know, like we're just stalemated now on 4 and really on 5. And I'm like, we have 3 episodes left, and I know they're going to end on a cliffhanger. That's just the nature of the business. But it's like, what are they going to give me? What's the point of this season? And of course there is a through line there, but it's like
I hear you.
I hold Star Wars at a very high standard because Star Wars is at a high standard, and it should be. And
Which is
I've
why
seen
Last Jedi is a problem. Yeah.
well, yeah, I can see the problems, but I just feel like TV is right now we're in the golden age of TV, right? It's better than a lot of movies. And if you're doing Star Wars and TV at the same time, it's got to have direction. And I feel like this episode and last did not have direction.
See, I just kind of disagree from a standpoint. Like, I feel like those first 3 episodes set up the story of the show, and I am fine if we get 3 seasons or however many we get this, and it's just like this every time. I will enjoy the hell out of it.
But you'll never learn it. I mean, we learn something.
You know what I learned?
Sometimes.
But here's the thing. Okay, we'll get to this in a second. First, I want to ask one thing first.
Yeah.
Because I agree it was filler until the last 10 seconds.
Yes.
But that's
Okay,
but that 10 seconds could have been on any episode. That's
True,
what I'm saying.
but
That's what
can
I'm
we
saying. It
let's
doesn't
address
matter.
it? Heather, did you recognize who that was?
No, not at first.
Did you look it up?
Of course, I looked at fan theories, and I want to believe it's Boba Fett.
It's pretty, from my appearance. They used the exact same sound effect
They did.
that they'd use when he's introduced
But I
in The
do
Empire
not
Strikes
think it's
Back.
The boots, yeah.
I want it to be. And the reason I say this is because I've done some extensive research on it. I'm pretty sure it's what's his name's Carlo Desposito, or I can't think of his name, but it's the bad guy from Breaking Bad. It was Gus from Breaking Bad. The actor, can't think of his name.
Okay.
It's
He has announced role in the series.
He has announced role. He's in the trailer that before episode 1 dropped, and he's wearing the exact same thing in the trailer that he's wearing whenever he kneels down. And he's basically like an ex-Imperial officer. Now, granted, that could be different, but I mean the way everything looked and the sound effect of the Spurs, which is a very Boba Fett thing,
and they
it's
did
very
that on
specific.
purpose. And I feel like if they don't give us Boba Fett, that's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, and granted, I could be wrong, but I just have a strong feeling that I'm not on this one. And we'll
No,
find out.
I didn't know that, so that's fair enough. I mean,
He had the cape too, though.
I know, but
So-
so does he. He has the same thing in the trailer. I know. I'm saying we're going to have to wait till Friday. And hey, when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, it's Boba. Like I thought the same thing, and I freaked out for about 3-5 seconds, and then I had to go online. I went, oh, so I get it. I get it.
okay,
I get it.
okay.
So it seems like we have 2, 4, or you're kind of on the fence a little bit. It's not the strongest episode. It's definitely not. It's not. We know it's on the weaker side for you, right, Heather? And then for Daniel's his expectations have been met.
Here's the argument I want to make. Okay,
Yeah, go
think
for it.
about bad action movies, right? Or just I'm not even going to say bad. I don't love action films, so this is more my personal opinion come out. But let's think about a series like Fast and Furious, right? What's the point of that series? It's big action, big boobs, and big stunts, and really cheesy plots.
Did you say big boobs?
Yes, scantily clad women.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry that I'm not a connoisseur on what distinguishes a big boob from like an average boob. Okay, that's why Heather's here. I'm kidding.
No.
Okay, so
Correct.
I have a painting. Heather, you probably don't know this. I have a
Okay.
painting of Vin Diesel that's combined with the Mona Lisa. It's a real painting, and it hangs above my kitchen sink.
that's pretty great.
Why would you insult the Mona Lisa like that?
Ooh, got him.
Or why would I insult Vin Diesel like that?
Oi,
What?
no.
Vin Diesel,
He's a lowbred actor.
when you
He
see
is a low brow actor. Have you seen how low his brows are?
whenever you see the painting, you're gonna be like, I get it. It's like seeing the Christine Chapel for the first time. Christine 16 Chapel.
Have you ever seen that?
I basically have. It's above my kitchen sink. It's called I call it the motor diesel.
Yeah, that's a good name for it. Okay, here's my point. Okay, Fast and Furious movies. What's the appeal? The action, the stunts, like that's, and in between you get sex and bad plot. Am I right? Like that's those movies in a nutshell. For me,
I guess,
what the Mandalorian. Okay, I know you love them. Shut up. Okay, for me, this is like a Star Wars version of that because it's awesome action, awesome stunts, awesome cinematography, but the filler, instead of being boobs and bad plot, is Star Wars lore. Is Star Wars world building.
But what did you get out of this episode?
You get to revisit Tatooine. You get to see the Bach droids again. You get to see kind of the state of what things are going on. You get an idea of this, like what's happening with the guild. I mean, I just think
didn't it feel like that the cantina bar, like it was, no one was in there. Like there's a few people.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good, maybe Tatooine is a lot less populated now.
Is it? I don't know. I felt like, for me, it felt kind of weird just because we never saw, I know it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, but it's just kind of like, I don't know.
I really loved the Mando. I loved how the Mando like negotiated with the Sand People, Tusken Raiders.
Love that.
That was really nice.
I love that
because it was just a different take on their culture.
Let me back up. I liked the episode. Again,
You're
like
doing
Marvel,
a real good impression of not.
Yeah, I'm there all the time. I just felt like my expectations. I saw the clock ticking. I was like, damn it! Like I want to know what the next. I want to know what the show is about this season, and I want to know more about Baby Yoda. I want to know the things that we keep asking in episode 1 and 2 and 3, and now we're stalling on those things.
I will agree about that. I feel like the two things I want to know is more about Baby Yoda. Is he ever going to use his little hand, raise his hand up, and use his power again?
Right.
And also the Mando. Is he ever going to take off his mask? They did such a great job in the fourth one of like building up and like starting that question, and then
and then we go nowhere with it.
Honestly, yeah.
But
I agree.
Don't get me wrong. Sorry, Daniel. The opening scene,
the ship battle,
you probably watched that. Was like Donavon was like losing his goddamn
when he
mind.
Said, when he says that's my line.
Yeah. And when he has a one-liner, I was like, "Fuck yes, this is gonna be amazing." I was losing my shit. And then but then you get the bounty hunter, that the up and coming bounty hunter who needs help and whatever, and he just doesn't feel like Star Wars, right? Like I keep going back to this. There's people who don't feel like Star Wars in this show.
I agree. They need more alien talking characters to really sell us a different galaxy.
Yeah, it feels like we're relying too much on humans.
There are humans in all of the Star Wars movies.
There is, but
what's the horse creature that they've introduced in this show? The one that just looks really weird.
Oh, the big fat looking one?
Yeah.
Wait, what? The one they ride?
It looks like a roly-poly.
Yeah. I think they're in episode 1, or they're in the special edition versions. I can't think of the name of them. Oh, they're called dewbacks.
So
they're called dewbacks.
No. Dewbacks are on Tatooine. That's a different creature from episode 1. Dewbacks are native to Tatooine.
I meant episode. Sorry, I meant Star Wars: New Hope.
That's the one they CGI added.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, special edition versions of New. I said episode 1, but I meant like the first movie is what I meant to say.
Yes.
Yeah, they're called dewbacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dewbacks. They're big round camels.
No, don't get me wrong. There was some really cool stuff here. Like I love the bounty hunter mentality of crossing the dune to get to their target. Like I love that we're gonna wait till nighttime. You know, they can afford that with the television show. We're gonna wait. We're going to flash bang her, and then we're going to.
Oh, also another reference. Did you notice her helmet? The helmet she's wearing. It's a return. It is a slight variation, if I'm right, on Lando Calrissian's disguise from Jabba's palace.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's like a clam.
Yeah.
Basically a clam helmet. Your face is inside of a clam.
Yeah, no, it's really.
But
cool.
I'm fairly certain. I think his had little teeth thingies on it to look. I don't know. Cool.
Here's the thing. Here, there's the thing we brought up last week: gripes and grapes. I'm a lot of not too many grapes today for me. A lot of gripes, but another gripe I have. It's like, why did Mando leave Baby Yoda if he's such a valued target?
I agree. I thought about that too.
And granted, I understand that Mando. I mean, basically, you think about this. Mando's a dad. He's a new dad. He is now, and I understand he has to learn how to be a dad and that kind of stuff. But still, you feel like based on episode 1 through 4,
especially 3, he was like so protective, and then just like nothing.
And now you're leaving him in the ship.
Yeah, that did feel odd. I mean, I get it from like a storytelling reason because they wanted to have like the tech lady more involved.
Well, I think more so is honestly the screenwriters. In this case, it was Dave Filoni. They didn't know what to do with Baby Yoda because he wanted to tell this story about the new bounty hunter. So it's like, what do you know?
Well, I mean, in the end, he's a factor because that's the reason that the up and coming bounty hunter turns on Mando.
He is, but I feel like it was just, I don't know. It just feels like almost like lazy writing. And I like Dave Filoni a lot.
It's not here's the thing. Okay, you Donavon Thompson saw Batman versus Superman in the theater how many times?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, how many times?
Honestly, I think 4 or 5.
Okay, so and you'll admit that movie has major issues.
Some gigantic issues.
Enjoyed the hell out of it.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is me in Star Wars where it's like I can recognize. Yeah, this episode could have been better.
You know what you sound like right now?
You
on me on The Last Jedi.
But I'm making sense.
You're literally giving the argument that I give when we talk about The Last Jedi. That I see the problem.
I feel like I'm a referee, but I do see what he's saying is it was just like an affectionate nod to Tatooine. That was what this episode is.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I think here's the other thing. I think they, until the next movie comes out, I think they are treading on, kind of walking on glass when it comes. I think when Jon Favreau came to Disney, I wouldn't be surprised if he pitched a much more ambitious plot. But Disney said, okay, hold on. We have a fan base that's never been more divided. They can't agree on anything. Let's tone this down a bit so that it's just more safe. And while it could have been better, it was safe. It was a safe episode. It kept you engaged. It brought up lots of cool references, had some great moments of action. I loved Mando getting shot by the sniper and like the real sparks that were flying up.
I did like
gorgeous. Again, Mando had night vision on his thing, but that's fine. Well, you had this issue that you haven't listened to the other episodes. On episode 2, when he goes in the little cave to find that big monster that attacks him, he's got like a light on the side of his helmet and it's shining around. But then every other episode, his helmet basically has like night vision. And I'm like, what? And I get it because they used it as like a practical light.
Yeah.
And they
his armor.
But it's his helmet, his same helmet.
Oh, okay. No, I thought they updated his helmet though. Why would they not?
Maybe they did.
Ooh, maybe they did. I mean, actually, they did technically did because
but he never took his helmet off.
I mean, no, technically it is because it's actually all shiny new. So
Well,
it is technically a new helmet.
Okay. Maybe he upgraded the helmet. Maybe that's
Look at that. That's why you're here.
Okay, thank you, Heather.
He just went into the bathroom and then he put something outside the door and he put his helmet outside the door and then they switched it out. No one saw him. He just took a shower.
That's fair enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unspoken, like
okay. Everyone was probably just bouncing their eyes. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. I guess my biggest question now is, where are we going? It sounds like based on the last episodes, we're doing the episode of the week kind of thing now, where we're on a new planet, new mission. But that last 10 seconds did kind of imply, hey, we're fixing to ramp up for the end of the season. There's a new character, and he's going to either have a vendetta or he's got something.
He's been tracking him the whole time.
Something like that.
I would assume that, especially if it ends up being that character that you are just thinking it could be, if he's like an Imperial connected guy, because I'm more interested in the repercussions of him screwing the Imperials than the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Because it feels like bounty hunters you can deal with, but the Imperials are actually a more interesting. So I mean, there's the heater.
There's the heater. The happens every episode.
The Autobot heater.
Yeah.
I've got to think Werner's probably coming back at some point. So? He's just too good of a name and an interesting character not to bring back. And we never even saw him when Mando took Yoda back.
No,
I was very surprised. I thought we were going to have a moment where Werner was like, oh, Mando, you thought you were getting away, like surprising him, and then he'd kill him or something. We never even got that. So that makes me think that. But my assumption could be that the first 3 episodes were a continuous plot. I wouldn't be surprised if the last 3 are. That kind of end with, like, that are more connected.
That's honestly what I feel is going to happen too. I feel like the first 3 were very, not say tight, but they had a through line. We went one to the next. Yeah. And granted, 4 and 5 do have that, and there's a connective tissue, but not like 1 through 3. And I definitely feel like that's going to happen.
And I do think there is a way to tell a compelling enough story that builds on things we have learned or seen or gone through in these so-called filler episodes that make them better.
Yeah,
in retrospect,
retroactively makes. Yeah, no, yeah. I hope so. I just
here in my last theory, and this is what I'm nervous about. is that the last episode premieres after the Rise of Skywalker, a week after. I hope to God they do not shoe in some sort of crossover.
I think they might, because I heard that they are airing that week whenever the movie comes out. It's the show is coming out on Wednesday instead of Friday.
Yeah, and I heard there's going to be a teaser for Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I did hear that.
At the end of the episode,
it's gonna be like a special look, an extended look or something.
Yeah, which that makes
makes total sense.
On a
from
marketing level, it makes 100% sense. And there you go.
We're all marketers.
We'll allow it.
Exactly.
We'll allow it.
And that makes sense. You know, I personally, I can see that. I think they're not going to do that, because if Rise of Skywalker is a mess or people don't like it or whatever, then that's a huge gamble for them for Mandalorian. And I think they're going to keep it separate if they can. I think that the breadth there is to kind of give everyone time to digest both, and like not one cannibalize the other in terms of talk. So
I hope not. In my experience, Disney's handling of Star Wars has felt shoehorned in general to me. It feels like they try to fit moments or characters or scenes in it from all the medium, from the video games to the books to the movies. It just kind of feels like they don't get how to pay homage without making it feel like it's shoehorned for the sake of it.
Well, see, to me,
and they do that with Marvel too.
They do. I think Marvel does it better. I think Marvel is smoother with it, but I don't know.
Well, it's not so much it's better. It's just that Marvel started running out of the gate doing these things where Star Wars has never been about.
They planned it from the beginning.
Star Wars has never been about nostalgia. It's always been about pushing forward, and now we're back to the nostalgia point. That's why Star Wars.
I don't
is
know.
different.
I feel like Star Wars lately has all been about nostalgia.
No,
yes,
that's the point.
Disney Star Wars.
That's what I'm saying.
Is banking on nostalgia.
Yeah, the first 6 movies weren't like that. It was all about pushing the envelope forward. At least for George, and it was always about pushing the narrative and also pushing technology,
making the world more interesting, expanding the universe, expanding the lore, the world building.
With Disney Star Wars, that's why it feels so different, because they're not following that.
They don't want to take risks,
exactly,
but they want to make you pay money to see.
They want the biggest audience for the biggest buck. Is why they're doing.
Yes, as much mass appeal as possible.
It's the decade of nostalgia for Disney, literally.
For sure, yeah. We have Lion King and Mulan,
all the live action movies.
And honestly, most of them suck. So they're just consistent. You know.
Okay, final thoughts. We got to wrap up here the episode. We're getting close to our end run time. Daniel, what do you think about the episode? Just final 30 seconds.
Final thoughts is I'm still on board. You know what I mean? I've seen some criticism online of people being like, "Oh, why aren't they doing the character more?" Blah blah blah. And then I've also seen the response of, "Well, listen, this is a Western show, right? This is a different format. This isn't Breaking Bad. The Mando is not Walter White. You are not going to get a Walter White out of him. That's just it's a different style. It's like eating salad and complaining it's not steak. You know what I'm saying? It's like." They're just different. And some people like steaks more than salad. Some people like salads more than steaks. And I think I'm just at a place where I know what I'm eating my salad and I love it. And if there's more salad, I'm good because the salad's tasty. So I'm like kind of where you are on like other things where I'm kind of not overly critical. It's just kind of weird for me because I'm typically like annoyingly critical, even to me.
Like I think over the last 4 or 5 episodes, we've kind of like switched positions on.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's nice to have It's nice to have a Star Wars property to not be overly critical about. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, and granted, again, my thoughts. I'm in for it. There was parts I loved about the episode. I just wish that I just had that cohesiveness. And again,
do you wish he had taken his helmet off?
No.
Before now? Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
But no, I'm there. I'll be there next week, of course, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, hell, I'll be there for 10 seasons if there's 10 seasons, so we'll see what happens. Heather, final thoughts on the episode?
On the episode, I'm gonna stick with my B-. I did think overall it was fine. I thought I love the nostalgia. I mean, with this whole series, I think probably my word for it is just like subtle quality, just like. I mean, what Pascal has been able to do just acting wise with a helmet on and just like the little things that he does goes so far. And then, the way they've directed it where like Baby Yoda's reaching up for the little handle on the airship, just like it's such a small thing and small little detail, but it just goes so far. There's not a lot of dialogue yet. Like it's still compelling.
It's almost like it's a show about small moments in the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it
I like
wasn't
that.
my favorite. I loved 4. I was a big fan of 4, but
Yeah, me
5
too.
was okay.
Gotcha.
How do you
Five.
feel about going forward? What's your
I'm still
anticipation
in.
level?
Yeah, obviously I want to know who that person was at the end, and we're going to, no doubt. But and I'd like for them to build more on the helmet thing and him taking it off, and just like his personal story, his background. I want them to get into the emotion and the story of who he is and how he became the Mando. So I hope that they do that.
And it does. I mean, they've planted the seeds to return. I mean, all those flashbacks
Oh,
we got.
it's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's just a matter of time and how they choose
And
to do
again,
that.
I wonder if they're just playing it safe till after Rise of Skywalker. I wonder if they said season 1 has to be safe as hell because we're going into Rise of Skywalker, and if we alienate the fan base more right before it, we're going to lose a lot of money. So what if they had said, okay, this has to be safe until after Skywalker, then you can do whatever the hell you want.
I'm sure that had to be said in the meetings. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all if that was
I'm
said.
sure I'm quoting Bob Iger directly.
He might be. Is Bob Iger in here right now?
I don't know. Am I
no,
Bob Iger?
great. So well, that was a fantastic episode. Heather, thank you so much
Yes.
for
Yeah,
being on
thank
here.
you for having me.
Where can our followers or listeners find you?
Yeah, you want to call it your Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah.
At Heather Condren.
How do you spell that?
Heather, everybody should probably know how to spell
Okay.
Heather. And then Condren, CONDREN.
CONDREN. Perfect. So you can find us all those very popular social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can at Instagram's at podcast _241, and then find us. Podcast 241.
Podcast services around the
Yeah,
globe.
pretty much. You know the drill. So thank you guys so much for being here. Great episode, Heather. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
great.
Next week we'll talk about, of course, episode 6 and other things that happen between now and then in the pop culture zeitgeist. I am
Yeah.
Donavon Thompson,
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
and we have spoken.